Welcome to Connecting the Community podcast. I am your host, Marj Andre. I will be connecting you to people, organizations, and events that create community. I am creating this podcast in Richmond Hill, an eclectic and very culturally diverse community with lots of trees and streams and interesting people, just up the hill from Toronto. On this podcast, I am talking with John Holland and Grace Quinsey. We will be talking about the upcoming performance, July 17th and 18th, of HMS Pinafore, which they are both starring in. So welcome, John and Grace.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Thanks for having us, Marj.
You're very welcome. Very glad we found the time to have this conversation. So, John, I have done other podcasts with you in regards to your role as director of Chorus York. This time, you are a performer with Opera York. Tell us about your role.
Well, my role is best explained in my opening song. I am the captain of the Pinafore. So my role is the captain of the ship, and Captain Corcoran, and he has a lovely young daughter, Josephine, who is set to be married to the Admiralty of the British Navy, Sir Joseph Porter. And Captain Corcoran is loved by his crew. He cares very deeply about his daughter, but he's always concerned about where he can fit in rank wise and where his purpose is. But it's a wonderful role. I love it. I haven't done like a GNS comic role like this in a long time, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, Grace, I have not had the pleasure to meet you before. Please tell us about yourself and your role in this production.
Well, I'm a local opera singer currently based in Newmarket, though I just moved here from Toronto. I've been performing across Ontario for many years with local companies here and there. But I actually discovered my love of performing through Gilbert and Sullivan. So it feels a bit like returning home to be doing HMS Pinafore, especially HMS Pinafore, which I did a decade ago as Josephine. And it was one of the first roles I ever sang. So I'm so excited to be back. And I've been very lucky to work with Opera York quite a bit over the past few seasons. And I'm thrilled to be back for this delightful and hilarious show.
Okay, very good. So I may have seen you on stage since I am a follower of Chorus York. So very good. So I will admit that I have certainly heard of HMS Pinafore, but I do know next to nothing about it really. And I was actually, am I the only one? I started asking friends and family, and they too really couldn't tell me about the story. So please tell us about the story and the history of HMS Pinafore, the opera.
Well, John, I'll take this one if that's okay, as the resident GNS expert in this podcast for today. So HMS Pinafore was premiered in 1878 and was the first major international hit for the team of Gilbert and Sullivan. It's a satire of British naval pride, class systems, and political pomposity. The story follows Rafe, a lowly sailor who dares to fall in love with Josephine, the captain's daughter, even though she's been promised a high-ranking Sir Joseph Porter. Of course, there are twists, misunderstandings, and a surprise identity reveal. It's witty, melodic, and incredibly funny today, and I think everyone will love it.
Okay, very good description. But Grace, maybe you better answer this question. What is a pinafore?
Okay, well, a pinafore is a sleeveless garment, an apron worn over clothing, usually by women or children to keep things tidy. The title HMS Pinafore is classic Gilbert, intentionally silly and ironic. It pairs the grandeur of a Royal Navy ship, HMS, His or Her Majesty's ship, with something domestic and dainty, a perfect signal that the show is going to poke fun at serious institutions with a wink and a song. That's what Gilbert does.
Very good. Okay, that question answered. Okay. So the storyline does refer to patriotism, politics, class divisions. Are these themes like really salient? Yeah, I really was hoping we could have some real relief from the conflict that seems to be enveloping the world. Any comments there?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. At its core, Pinafore is about, who deserves love, who deserves power, who deserves respect, and how society sometimes gets it all topsy-turvy and backwards. The message still resonates, but what's wonderful is that the satire is wrapped up in warmth and humor. It lets us laugh at the absurdity of these systems, whether it be political or military, and it lets us laugh at them without being overwhelmed. Especially now, like you said, the world needs needs a laugh. Everything feels very heavy, so it's a good experience to have something that's clever, joyful, and gives us a bit of a catharsis through humor.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so we can have some fun and it's comic relief. But HMS Pinafore is referred to as a comic opera. I've also seen it referred to as a precursor to modern musicals. Can you contrast it to, say, traditional operas?
Yeah, so definitely. It is in line with the musicals and kind of a precursor to things like Phantom of the Opera and, the Gershwin musicals and things like that, because it really focuses on the English language with spoken dialogue. Traditional opera is usually in a foreign language, mostly Italian. You can think of Traviata, Don Giovanni, things like that. HMS Pinafore is shorter than those. It's sung in English. It's a very humorous opera. It's got tons of, tongue-in-cheek sections. There's also spoken dialogue. So there's not recitatives that you would have in Italian opera or French opera, things like that. Witty lyrics, catchy tunes that stick with you. Sullivan was considered a really great composer with, in regards to people like Brahms and Dvorak and other people like that. He was considered an upper echelon composer. But Gilbert's lyrics were meant to appeal to the everyday audience. So in many ways, it laid the groundwork for modern music theater. So if you like shows like Music Man, Pirates of Penzance, things like that, this is the show for you.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that sort of description because I think we needed it. Now, let's talk about this performance on July 17th and 18th at the Richmond Hill Center for Performing Arts. So how many performers are there and musicians in the orchestra?
So we've got a full chorus, which is amazing, over 25 singers. And the chorus in Gilbert and Sullivan is so important because they're basically a body and they have so much important things to say. And it's wonderful that we have so many engaged local singers. But we also have a fantastic cast of experienced professionals in the lead roles. The production is accompanied by a full orchestra, which adds such a richness to the score. And is great to perform with. It's a really big, beautiful sound on stage, and I'm just really happy that we have so many people engaged here, ready to have fun and make music.
Okay, so a lot to look forward to. So I'm also expecting there to be some very beautiful, elaborate costumes. Where do they come from? And do you have a costume designer or someone in charge of the wardrobe?
So we have a costume team that's a local wardrobe team. They work frequently with Opera York. And they've kind of built up a catalog of costumes for various shows and various contingencies. So they're making a look that's both historically inspired, but also kind of playfully theatrical. You can think of crisp naval uniforms, ruffled gowns, and then just different visual touches that help tell the story.
They're very talented. I'm pretty sure one of them has a basement full of costumes from the past 20 years.
I've listened to a couple of the YouTube clips of HMS Pinafore, and many of the pieces were sung with a very heavy British accent, which I will admit I had a hard time following. So will you be using this British accent?
So really, no. We're going with something closer to a mid-Atlantic or stylized English. So it won't sound British, it won't sound Canadian, but it will sound very theatrical and be very easy to understand. It gives a sense of the world without making it hard to understand. Clarity is the most important thing in English operas because we don't have surtitles and something like this. There's nothing else for audiences to look at, so you have to make sure that the audience can understand everything you say, especially in Gilbert and Sullivan, because Gilbert is razor sharp with his lyrics. It's so important that the audience hears every word to get the joke.
Okay, good. I will not have to worry about that. Okay. Now, are there pieces of music that we'll recognize?
Yes. There is a very famous song called A British Tar, it's ended up in everything. It's been in an Indiana Jones movie. It's been in a Star Trek film. It's become part of popular culture. I Am the Captain of the Pinafore, which I said earlier is my first song. There's another song, When I Was a Lad. They've become kind of cultural touchstones. They've been parodied all over popular culture. The Simpsons actually did a little scene of highlights from HMS Pinafore just for no apparent reason in one of their episodes, with one character singing all the roles and such. The Muppets have done things like that as well. So the music is it went into popular culture at its time and has stayed there. All the music is very catchy. The humor holds up. One thing you can say about Gilbert and Sullivan's humor, the humor of the operas or operettas always are timely, but they still ring true today. Any of the political commentary or any of the social commentary is all very relevant still today. I mean, maybe that's saying something about our society, but it's all very relevant. So all the jokes are still, jokes that everyone will recognize and laugh at today.
Now, you've referenced The Simpsons and Muppets. Is this a production that young people would enjoy?
100%. I think kids love Gilbert and Sullivan. It's so catchy. It's so bright colored. It's so wonderful and fun in every single way. I plan to invite all my nieces and nephews to come see it. I want them to get exposed to English operas as much as possible, and they can walk away singing the tunes. So if you like musical theater, dance, anything comedic and clever, this is a great show, which most kids like things that are comedic and clever.
Yeah.
There's physical comedy, ensemble numbers, sharp satire. It's also a great introduction to opera. Short, funny, completely accessible.
Okay, very good. Now, you did say short, so I was curious. Is it a long production?
No, it's about an hour and 45 minutes max.
Okay.
And then, 15-minute intermission. So I wouldn't maybe 2 hours total.
Okay. Not too long. Thank you.
Just long enough to feel like a full theatrical experience, but brisk enough to keep you laughing, focused, and engaged.
Very good. Now, can you talk about your rehearsals? I'm certainly you're busy doing them now. Are they once a week? Where do you do them? And when do you get to practice on the main stage of RHCPA?
Okay, so the rehearsal period is kind of two phases. The chorus of the opera has been meeting earlier. They've been meeting for maybe, 2 months or so. Once a week. I think that's been Wednesdays that they've been meeting. And they've been kind of building their ensemble sound and getting used to each other. And the chorus always is singing together. So you really, like we do with Chorus York, you have to get to a point where all the singers trust each other and you really have that core sound. The leads, like myself, like Grace, we are currently rehearsing music and doing staging about 4 times a week. It's a big commitment, but it's a joyful process. I mean, Grace and I have worked together a lot. Several of the other cast have worked together a lot. So it's just, we're used to each other. We have a lot of fun. We goof around. It's a great experience. We are rehearsing at Thornhill United Church, and we're grateful to have that space. It's always lovely to be there. Richmond Hill Center for Performing Arts, we move in maybe the week of the show, and we have a tech rehearsal, like a tech dress, and a full dress rehearsals with the orchestra. That's really where everything kind of meshes and comes together. But before then, the space in the church, we've marked out for the space of the stage, so we know our boundaries and everything like that. But yeah, once you get on the stage at Richmond Hill Center, everything I find really comes alive and really connects and works.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Very just interested what happens behind the scenes and up to it. I think we really do well with thinking about that whole process for what it takes to put on a show. So is there anything else that you would like to add?
I just want to reiterate that this is a show filled with joy, heart, humor. Whether you're a die-hard opera fan or totally new to the game, I think you'll find something to love in it. It's timeless. It's a timeless satire with gorgeous music and a very, very fun spirit. Although I sing a lot of sad songs, but it is a fun show.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I just come out. I don't know if the Gilbert and Sullivan show has been done in Richmond Hill in the last 10, 20 years. I don't know if Opera York has ever done one. It's a chance for people in the community to hear something a bit different from standard opera. I have a feeling that once they get one Gilbert and Sullivan show, they're going to be hooked and they're going to want more. So maybe we have a summer Gilbert and Sullivan every year as part of Opera York season. That would be wonderful.
That'd be great.
That would be good. Okay. Now, I do end my podcast with the guest's response to the same question. And I know you've answered this before, John, but I don't know what your answer is, so you can answer it again. Please name one thing you really like about this community.
So I'm new to the area. I just moved to the community. A couple local companies in the past couple months. And one thing that I have to say I really, really love is the creative energy. There's so much talent here and so much drive. Choirs, theater groups, arts organization. The community is really thriving with musicals, with artists, everything. There's like an artist festival every week in Newmarket. People really show up to support the arts. It's a place where artistic collaboration and curiosity thrive, and I feel really, really lucky to be part of it.
John, your comment.
So normally I say I love the food in the area, and I still do. Great places. But to kind of build on what Grace said, I live in downtown Toronto, and there's always lots of stuff going on in downtown Toronto. And a lot of people think that if you're going to see opera or a symphony or choirs, it only happens in Toronto. Absolutely not true. High-level art is happening all over the place, especially in Richmond Hill. For Richmond Hill to have, we talked about Chorus York, to have something like Chorus York, to have an orchestra, a symphony orchestra there, to have an opera company is a big thing. Opera companies are few and far between in Canada and across Canada. So the fact that Richmond Hill has a professional opera company is a real feather in its cap from an art standpoint. And being able to be part of that and being able to help grow the opera scene in Richmond Hill and see the support for opera in Richmond Hill is really something fantastic. And I love it. I love the community. Tuesday nights are my opera or my Chorus York nights. And I always say Tuesday nights are my favorite night of the week to be up in Richmond Hill and working with Chorus York. But, even before Chorus York, I was doing stuff with Opera York. And those were my favorite nights of the week as well. So being able to be in a community that, as Grace said, is supportive of the arts and cultivates the arts is something that's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for saying that. I think being a longtime Richmond Hiller, I sometimes take things for granted. So again, thank you. So I'll put the link to the Opera York to buy the tickets and find out more about what you're doing. Again, it's Thursday, July 17th and Friday, July 18th. And I think it's 7:30 it starts. So again, thank you, John and Grace, for taking the time to do the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Marj. Always a pleasure.
You're very welcome. Thank you for listening. I would very much appreciate you sharing this podcast. Consider emailing me at Marj, M-A-R-J, at marjandre.com. I welcome suggestions for podcast guests. Stay well, stay connected.